In just 9 minutes, witness the most explosive moments from Sam Seder's fiery showdown with 20 MAGA supporters. This debate dives into Trump's lies, abortion wars, Christian nationalism, and the GOP's plan to cut Social Security. Who came out on top? Stay till the end. You won't believe what they said. Here are 10 key takeaways from the debate. Takeaway 1. Trump's attack on DEI is about corporate power. Sam Seder argues that Trump's opposition to DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, is not really about stopping discrimination. Instead, he says it is about giving corporations more power by removing protections for minority groups, women, and people with disabilities. When DEI policies are removed, companies are no longer required to make workplaces more accessible or ensure that job opportunities reach all communities. For example, DEI policies often require companies and government agencies to advertise jobs in lower-income neighborhoods and among diverse populations. Without DEI, companies can quietly favor certain groups, making it harder for minorities and underprivileged individuals to access good jobs. Seder points out that conservatives often claim DEI forces unqualified people into jobs, but they fail to provide any real evidence that this is happening. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2, billionaires and religious extremists benefit from Trump. Seder claims that unless you are a billionaire, a religious fundamentalist, or a nationalist, voting for Trump was a mistake. He explains that Trump's policies overwhelmingly favor these groups while doing little for average Americans. The tax cuts he passed benefited the ultra-rich far more than working-class people. And his close alliance with Christian conservatives led to policies that push religious beliefs into government decisions. For example, Trump supported policies that allow businesses to deny birth control coverage based on religious beliefs. He also encouraged public education funds to be redirected toward private religious schools. Seder argues that these policies benefit religious fundamentalists, but leave public schools underfunded. He also points out that Trump's judicial appointments helped overturn Roe versus Wade, limiting reproductive rights nationwide. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3. The GOP wants to cut Social Security and health care. A major debate topic was whether the GOP plans to cut Social Security and Medicare. Seder strongly argues that Republicans have been looking for ways to weaken these programs for years. He warns that if Republicans succeed, millions of retirees and low-income people will be left without the benefits they rely on. 2/3 of elderly Americans depend on Social Security to stay out of poverty, and Medicare ensures they can afford health care. For example, some conservatives in the debate suggested phasing out Social Security by slowly reducing benefits for younger workers. Seder pushed back, arguing that this would create a crisis where millions of Americans reach retirement age without any financial safety net. He also pointed out that instead of cutting these programs, Congress could fix Social Security's funding issues by raising the cap on taxable income. But Republicans refused to do so because it would mean taxing the rich more. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4, Trump's tax cuts made the rich richer. Trump's 2017 tax cuts were sold as a win for the middle class. But Seder explains that over time, they benefited the wealthy far more than working people. While middle-class Americans saw small tax cuts, the wealthiest Americans received huge reductions in taxes, allowing them to accumulate even more wealth. This led to a widening gap between the rich and the working class. For example, a billionaire might have saved millions from Trump's tax cuts, while an average worker may have only saved a few $100s. Seder also points out that many of these tax breaks for the rich were permanent, while the cuts for lower-income earners were set to expire. As a result, many working-class people will see their taxes go up over time, while billionaires will continue benefiting. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5, Trump supporters defend economic inequality. Many MAGA supporters in the debate defended the idea that billionaires deserve their wealth because they invest in businesses and create jobs. Seder challenged this argument, saying that extreme wealth concentration actually harms the economy by making it harder for average people to afford housing, healthcare, and education. He argues that when a small number of people control most of the country's wealth, it leads to a system where the rich keep getting richer while everyone else struggles. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, billionaires in the U.S. increased their wealth by trillions of dollars, while millions of Americans lost jobs and struggled to pay rent. Seder points out that instead of using their wealth to help the economy, many of these billionaires use their profits to buy back stocks, increasing their own wealth even further. We're halfway through the video. Thank you for sticking with us this far. If you're enjoying it, please give us a thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to comment below. To see more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6. Trump's corporate policies hurt workers. Seder argues that Trump's approach to government agencies weakens worker protections and helps big corporations maximize their profits at the expense of ordinary Americans. He explains that agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency and the Food and Drug Administration exist to prevent corporations from harming people by cutting corners on safety, wages, and environmental impact. For example, if a chemical company finds it cheaper to dump toxic waste into a river instead of properly disposing of it, it saves money but harms the health of nearby communities. Seder says Trump's efforts to weaken these agencies allow corporations to get away with this kind of behavior. He argues that when government oversight is removed, businesses prioritize profit over worker safety and public health. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7. The abortion debate exposed deep divides. One of the most heated moments in the debate was about abortion. A Trump supporter strongly argued that life begins at conception and that abortion should be illegal under all circumstances. Seder countered by saying that banning abortion leads to dangerous situations where women are denied life-saving medical care because doctors fear legal consequences. For example, Seder referenced real cases where women were denied emergency abortions, even when their lives were at risk, because hospitals feared breaking strict anti-abortion laws. He argued that instead of protecting life, these bans often force women into situations where they suffer or die due to a lack of medical options. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8. Some Trump supporters embrace Christian nationalism. One of the most extreme moments in the debate came when a MAGA supporter openly endorsed Christian nationalism. They argued that America should be based on European and Christian values and that diversity weakens the country. This person said immigrants should fully assimilate into a dominant white Christian culture instead of maintaining their own traditions. For example, when asked if Trump was too moderate for them, they responded that he was not xenophobic enough and that he was still allowing too many immigrants into the country. Seder pointed out that this view is a core part of the modern Trump movement, even though many conservatives try to deny it. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9. The debate over government spending. Many conservatives in the debate argued that government spending is out of control and that social programs create a welfare state where people become dependent on handouts. Seder responded by saying that programs like Social Security and Medicare are not welfare, but essential safety nets that Americans pay into throughout their working lives. For example, he pointed out that in 2021, the child tax credit was expanded, which cut child poverty by 45% in just 1 year. However, Republicans blocked efforts to keep the program going, despite clear evidence that it was helping millions of families. Now let's move to the last takeaway. Takeaway 10. Trump's supporters believe climate change is exaggerated. Climate change was another point of disagreement. Some Trump supporters downplayed the effects of climate change and argued that humans will always find ways to adapt. One person even suggested that if sea levels rise, people can just build seawalls instead of reducing fossil fuel use. For example, when Seder asked how they would protect cities like Miami from rising sea levels, a Trump supporter dismissed concerns, saying that technological advancements will solve the problem. This reflects a common conservative argument that economic growth is more important than environmental protections. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like below and share this video in your WhatsApp groups. You can also discuss about this video by commenting below. To get more such videos in your timeline, press the subscribe button below